morning, future teachers of America. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Rachel.
I'm Joshua.
I'm Jennifer. And I'm Kirby.
Today, we're going to be discussing the different standards Texas has set for early childhood education.
We have a special segment today where we have chosen 8 questions from viewers all around the country.
And here to help us answer these questions is our special guest, Professor Emily Kreidler.
Hey guys, thank you for having me today.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
So our first question comes from Mary in Chicago. Mary would like to know why it is important for teachers to take into account individual learners' strengths, interests, and needs.
Before, Emily, you say anything about that, I would like to get a little something in there. I really think that it's important to keep in mind that the learning styles of our students, they really differentiate from each other. No child has the same learning style, and I really think it's important for us to keep that in mind, because if we don't take into account the child's individual needs and requirements, we won't be able to understand their needs, which enables us from helping to better their curriculum in higher education.
I completely agree with you. Perfect.
Let's see. Alice from Virginia asks, how can teachers assess prior knowledge?
Well, to answer her question, ways teachers can access prior knowledge is by being able to understand each individual student and see where their struggles are, their pros and cons, and being able to be able to help the student's weaknesses. And once that's done, then it'll open up opportunities for her to be able to proceed on to the next subject or assignment to discuss.
And
as a whole.
And there are several ways I think you could do that. Warm-up activities before class starts. Indirect questions you could ask the students, not to put pressure on any one certain student, but just to get an idea before the year starts of where each student is at and where each student needs to improve individually. I think
Just
that
like
really
a
helps.
small little test.
Exactly. Just a nonchalant.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
For our next question comes from Jessica from Washington, and she wants to know, how can teachers create a respectful classroom environment?
Well, there's numerous ways on how to encourage a respectful environment. It is also important that you welcome them with a smile, you get down to their level, and make sure that they understand that you're not just their teacher, you're also their friend. Because if you come at them with strict and tough rules, they're not going to want to follow them. They're going to want to rebel and act against them.
Yeah, and I really, definitely. And I really think that also allowing the students maybe to have a hand in establishing rules for the semester, because each student really comes in with an expectation of how they want the year to go. I think it really helps if they can voice those expectations and help establish those rules, and they're probably even more likely to follow them, don't you think?
And throughout the semester, maybe the students be rewarded for the good stuff they do.
Yes,
And
definitely.
the classroom environment needs to be creative and innovative for the students to feel comfortable and warm, very, very lively for them to interact with their environment.
Yeah, and it makes them feel more part of the process, and rather than just existing in the process.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Why are these steps important in helping promote student learning?
Oh, I would love to, Emily, to get your input on this one.
So the steps he was talking about are stimulates learners' reflection on prior content knowledge, links new concepts to familiar concepts, and makes connections to learners' experiences. These steps are extremely important to promote student learning. First and foremost, teachers need to know the child. If they don't know who the child is, where they are in their skills, how in the world will they be able to teach them the knowledge they need to know? The way they do this is by understanding where the student is in their development. The teacher needs to stimulate the learner's reflection on prior content knowledge so they can help the students make new and familiar connections. These connections will help enhance and develop their cognitive, social, and developmental skills. For example, if a student knows how to count, then the teacher will be able to add on that knowledge by teaching the students to add, subtract, or even do basic math. Another way of looking at this is for the teachers to put themselves into the student's shoes. Learn the things through the student's eyes.
It's almost like a student reflection kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay, putting yourself in the student's shoes. That's such a good point.
Okay, and our next question comes from Susan from Alabama. She would like to know why it is important for students to have opportunities to employ a variety of forms of communication that address varied audiences and purposes, such as lab reports or a report on a historical event.
I think that learning to implement various forms of communication is such an important aspect to learning, and I think that learning is all about the experience. I think that without the experience, we're not able to grow. And as teachers, I think we are supposed to give children the opportunity to be able to learn, to be able to learn together.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to have the interaction with our community. We need to be able to socialize with others. We need to be able to come together so that we know what we're learning is related to everyday life.
It really gives a purpose to learning.
Mhm.
So
And learning the social skills at such a young age will help as they grow into adults. They'll know these social skills, because there are some adults that don't know how to socialize and don't know how to hold a conversation. So with these skills that they're learning in the classroom and in the community, it'll help them in their adult life.
So true. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these messages.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
And we're back with Professor Kryler answering questions from our viewers about the different standards that Texas has recently implemented into early childhood education.
Ashley from Detroit asks, why is it important for teachers to work collaboratively with others to analyze data?
Well, I don't think that teachers should work alone. I think that teachers should work together, because maybe there's a teacher across the hall that has been there for 30 years, and then there's a teacher who is new to the school and isn't quite sure how they deal with students and what exactly tests. There's different projects that they use and different tests. So I think that working together, they're able to come up with a solution to how to answer stuff, and they're able to see different viewpoints of different teachers and stuff like that.
And I think that this networking networking and sharing between the different generations of teachers really allows for us as the teacher to be even more effective in providing a more enriched and high quality education for our students.
Yes. Our next question comes from Meredith in Wisconsin. She would like to know, how can teachers plan collaboratively with other professionals who have specialized expertise?
So, to answer her question, teachers can plan collaboratively, not just with other teachers, but with other professionals from other fields. Teachers can invite these professionals, such as firefighters, policemen, nurses, into the classroom to give the children knowledge from these professionals' experiences. The professionals will speak out to the students to tell them their job, to tell them how it is outside in the world, so the students won't feel that it's just them in the classroom, them and the subjects. Children need to be able to see what jobs and opportunities are out there. So, and not just out there, but they're learning at the same time. Instead of just being in the classroom all day, these experiences will play a big part in the students' future decisions, such as where they want to volunteer or what type of career they want to be. This
It'll inspire them to do their schoolwork so that they can get to where they want to be later on in life.
Gives them a motivation to accomplish their goals and get to see what they too could become someday.
Yeah.
So important.
And for our final question, we have Hannah from Montana, and she asked, what are some benefits in collaborating with learners to design and implement instruction?
Well, there are many benefits in collaborating with students. By working with the students, the teachers can keep up with the students as they learn and keep growing.
I really think, especially because students' learning styles are so tentative, they are constantly changing, and as they grow and as they obtain more knowledge, their learning styles change, and I think that we as teachers need to be aware of that and make sure that we are keeping up with those changes so that we can better aid our students in their education. I really feel like all these questions really connect together, and they all relate back to the first question about being really in tune with your students' needs.
Every single one of these questions are interconnected with each other. From learning the student's strengths and knowledge, to assessing their prior knowledge, to taking steps to promote their knowledge, and then for teachers to create a curriculum that will fulfill their whole needs.
This is so true. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Emily, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it. We have all learned so much. And as always, thank you to our viewers for being here today, as well as to the people who sent in questions. And I would like to invite you to join us next week as Dr. Latrice Nixon will be here with us discussing Bloom's taxonomy and the influence that it will have in our future classrooms. See you next week.
It's getting done.
Who comes first? Who comes first? Hey! I want to say okay, so
Many benefits in collaborating with students. Well, there are many benefits.
that's right.
There are.
You bet there are.
We're done.
Okay, no, hold
You're
on.
done.
Then cut.
No, breathe. Okay.
And that's a wrap.
No, hold on. I'm done with this part.
Let's go.
Okay. Well, there are many benefits. No, because you've already read the question perfectly. So if I can just say this
Okay,
right,
just
then
whenever you're ready.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.